Welcome to your 2026 Baystar walkthrough. This floor plan is a 3826, and we're going to start right here in the front driver's side area at the equalizer panel for your leveling. Before you put your coach in the leveling mode, either manual or auto, you want to make sure that your slide rooms are already out, and then you would be able to come here to the equalizer system's touchpad to do your leveling. So you'll have to have the ignition key on to accessories. Once that's on, you'll be able to hit the power button and you'll be able to see that your ignition is on. Before you auto level, you'll want to make sure that underneath the coach, there's nothing that's off level to the point where there would be a large object. And then you would be able to come in here and then just press the auto level button. You'll be able to hear the jacks going down. You can see the LED here is operating. Independent of the auto level are the manual buttons that you can adjust manually here. Just a note while it's leveling is you can actually get online and you can get the app to see what your coach is doing with leveling, and you'll be able to connect to your touchpad with the Bluetooth. You can see the coach is moving as the coach is getting more level. If for some reason you were in an area that was too far off level, that the jacks would not be able to level, you'll see this LED light for excessive slope, and then you would have to move to a different area for leveling to take place. All right, you can see now the LED went out for operating. All of your jacks are down. So now you can turn off your ignition. Your leveling is complete. Then you can power it down. And then your procedure to bring the jacks back up is the same. You would power it up with the ignition on. And then you would just simply hit all retract. So you can see here all the jacks are retracted. When you're finished, then all you have to do is hit the power button and that turns the system off. So starting over here at the left-hand side, if we turn our ignition on, we can see that our illumination backlighting on our switches comes on. This is our battery boost. Our battery boost helps us start the engine if the chassis battery is low. All we need to do is press that and hold it down for 60 seconds, and that connects the house batteries to boost the chassis batteries. So then while we're holding that down, we could start the engine if we had an issue with the chassis battery not being able to crank. If we did have low batteries and we weren't plugged in, this is our generator. We'd want to start our generator. So to start the generator, just press forward and hold. And that will start our generator. And once it starts, the flashing will stop. Once we're finished using the generator, we just press the stop here. And the light will go out. That means the generator's off. In case you can't hear it, you know that light goes out, it is off. This is our switch for the overhead fans. So it's OH fans. So if we go high, the fans above the windshield come on to help circulate air in the front here, or we can go to low. We like to have that on, especially when we're defrosting the windshield. In the center position is off. The overhead dome light is here, on and off. Just above that, we have our left and right mirror adjust. So our driver mirror is on the left, so we can Once we switch to left, we can adjust it up or down here and left and right here. And then we can adjust the passenger mirror on the R. When we're finished, just put the selector in the middle. In case you bump it, then it won't move the mirror. If the mirror has frost or moisture on it, all you need to do is turn the mirror heat on, and that will melt the frost or that moisture. If there's no moisture on it, obviously we'll leave that off. This is your phone charger. You can just set your phone here to charge, hands-free. This is our emergency hazards flashing here. You can see they're on. To turn them off, just press again, they go off. This is our lane keeping system. If we press that, we can see our lane keeping system is on. It gives you an audible chime if you move out of your lane. So if you want that on, just press it. If you don't, press it again and it turns off. You can adjust the sensitivity of how far you move out of the lane, and we'll show you that here in a second. If we move down just below that, we have our traction control system for slippery conditions, and our dimmer switch or bright here on the left. You can see the dash is dimming, and the switches, the backlighting's dimming. If we want to go back to brighter, we can just turn it to brighter on the right hand side. And our headlamps and marker lights switch is here, that's off. This is marker lights only. This is headlights on. And all the way to the right is automatic headlights, not automatically dimming headlights, but just the headlights will come on when the level of light gets low enough that you need headlight assist. Or if you have it turned on here and the wipers come on, then your headlights will automatically come on as well. So whether the wipers come on or you turn the wipers on, the headlights will come on at the same time if this is turned over to the right or low light conditions. Just below that, we have an additional charging port, USB-C or USB. To the left of that is a 12-volt charging port. And as I look down here, there's a foot pedal lever here. That's my emergency brake. So if I press that, I'm setting my emergency brake. Just above that, there's a release handle. So I can grab the release handle here and release. Again, press, set, and then release. The hood release is just a little further back. If I want to open the hood, I grab the hood release here and pull, and that will release the hood. To the left, there's a small box, and it is our fuse panel behind it. So if I wanted to check my fuses, remove that box. On the back side of it, we've labeled all of our fuses. So for instance, if your power visor wasn't working, you would check the fuse in position 1. If your steps or mirror weren't working, you'd check fuse F11. So we have extra fuses down there at the bottom of it. So if any of these fuses blow, choose the same size fuse and replace it. And when you're finished, just put this back, and then the clasp on the top and the bottom. As we move over to the dash here, we can see that it's lit up because we've got the ignition on. Starting at the left, we've got our RPMs. We have our oil pressure, engine temperature, miles to empty. This is our fuel gauge. Battery voltage for the chassis battery. And then in the center of the screen, we can scroll left or right here on the wheel, these arrows left, and we can see our first selection is trip, fuel economy, or configure your systems. This is our fuel economy, and fuel history. So if I wanted to look at my fuel history, I would just go down and then press the OK button, and that gives me my fuel history. If I want to continue to look at my other settings, I just scroll over vehicle information, maintenance monitor, and settings. Here you can see we have our settings for pre-collision. This system has brakes that will assist or come on if you set the pre-collision. You can set the sensitivity and the distance, whether you want active braking or not. You can turn, just by pressing the OK, you can turn on or off the active braking and or the distance indication. Pre-collision, if you don't want it on at all, just press that, and then you can choose off if you want to turn your pre-collision off. It does tell you that it's off in the yellow icon down below. So all of this information is contained in the manual that comes with your coach from Ford, and you can review that manual for more detailed information, but that's just a quick overview. On the bottom here we have our mileage. This is our shift indicator here in the center. Since we have the key turned on, we have a red indication for our battery because we don't have the engine running. That goes out when the engine starts. And of course we have our temperature indication and marker lights showing on. And then we have our speedometer here. To set our cruise control here on the wheel, we can set that right here. Cruise control on and off in our settings up or down. In the center is our horn. On the left side here, this is our turn signal. Left or right. As soon as you go left or right, the camera automatically goes to that view. So if I go right, it shows the right lane because I'm turning right. If I go left, that camera on the left side is going to show. The wiper wash is right here, so if I press that, the wiper wash will come on and the wipers will cycle 3 times. But if I want them to stay on, I would just turn this forward and choose a setting here. All right, so our shift, our indicator for our shift is here. If I put the coach in any gear, it's going to show up right here on the bottom in the center. If I want to manually shift the gears, I can do that here, up or down. And when I do that, it will show the gears right here, the ones that I've chosen, if I want to do it manually. If I don't, then it'll just automatically shift the gears as normal. If I press the tow haul button, you'll see that the tow haul feature comes on. That just enables the shifting patterns to be better for when you're towing. Moving over here to our radio and camera screen, you can select home screen, and then you can scroll like this manually, or you can just press the arrow to scroll through the channels. So I would maybe want to select cameras here. So that's going to show the rear view camera. If I want to select a different view, down here is my camera selector. So I can go right view, left view, rear view. When I'm done and I want to go back to, let's say, the radio screen, if I just touch the screen, it gives me the icon to go home, so I go back to the home screen. So you can see this tells me how far I can go over to the right. I've gone all the way over to my selections on the left. Now I can choose radio, Sirius, Android, CarPlay. If I scroll over, I've got USB plug, camera, Bluetooth, audio, if you select, let's say for instance, Bluetooth, now you'd be able to connect your device to the radio just by pressing the pair button here. So now it would be pairing with Bluetooth. You'll still have to choose this as your selection on your phone. So you'll choose your radio that shows up, and then you'll make your connection with your paired device. Going back to the home screen, you've got your audio visual in. It does have a micro SD. You can adjust sound with your equalizer, and then there's additional car information here. So if you are tuned into a radio station but you're not getting any volume, even though you've turned up the volume here, you can see we have volume, it's not playing. Go to your home screen and make sure zone 1 is turned on. So press home 1, zone 1, and then you'll have your volume. If this is off, then you don't have volume. So just remember that when you're tuning your radio in. These controls down below basically are just the icons that you see, the home screen here. You can flip this up, plug a USB in directly into the radio here. You can change your band here, your mode button to go, let's say you wanted Sirius, you can go there. SD card, if you flip this up, you've got your SD card here. To turn the system off, just press the center button and release. Just below that, we have a little storage area here. We have our camera switcher, which you saw earlier. The shade is for the front windshield, up and down. Now if I press it down, it'll go down as long as the ignition is not on, but you'll see it only goes up even though I'm going down. That's because my ignition is on. If I turn my ignition off, then my shade will go down. That's a safety feature in case your engine's running. You don't want the shade to go in any direction except up, so you can see out of the windshield. Just to the right of that, you have your HVAC control just for the cockpit area here. So you've got heating and cooling, which is air conditioning. To turn that on, just turn it on to number 1 setting, 2, 3, or 4 for your fan speeds. And then you want hot air or cool. That's the center knob. You will need to press the snowflake icon here to get your LED light, the little blue one, to come on. That's for your compressor. Otherwise you won't have air conditioning. And then you can select the recirculate button to get the cooling going faster here in the cockpit area if you like. If you don't select recirculate, you'll get fresh air, a little bit of fresh air coming in from the outside. If you don't turn your snowflake on and you have fresh air coming in, you can still get some of the cooling effect if it's a cool day by going over to the cool side. And then of course you have your selections for defrost over here on the right, or other floor or mid here in the knob. When you're done using it, just turn it off. Just to the just below that, we have our table. This is a folding table. This table folds out. There's a little arrow here. If you move this to the left, you can see this table slides. Okay, so once that slides, you can lift and open. You can lift and open this way, and then this way. So now I've got a large table here. To store it back, we just lift it back up, push down. Once you close it, in order for you to push this back forward, you'll have to press that to the side again and then move it forward. And it locks in that position. So as you're sitting in the passenger seat here, you've got an overhead type of light here. It's like a dome light for the passenger side. Below that, you've got a 120 volt outlet at the bottom and 2 USB chargers. You have a phone charger here, and just set it in place and it charges. Storage cup holder, and the louvers you can adjust for your air vent for your front heating and cooling. You've got your shades. They're manual, so you can lift. Now you can open and close your window here. Just lift up to unlock, and then you can push the window forward. There's a screen here, and then when you're ready to close it, just pull back and lock, and pull the shade back down. The seat has a special insert here. You can put your iPad or your phone or whatever here, and you can adjust that here and rotate it. These can both be moved up and down. There are a couple adjustments for the seat. On my right hand side, there's a lever for the seat back. I can adjust that. And then I can rotate the seat, as well as there's a footrest here. The footrest switch is right here, so just pull that back and I can set my footrest out here. The seat can be rotated around towards the living room. So to do that, the lever on my right will rotate the seat all the way around. Into the living room area. To rotate around, I would just, this is the handle that you have to pull towards you to continue to rotate, because it locks in the center position this way. So you just rotate it around. Now you can be facing the living room. When you're ready to travel, just rotate back, and it will automatically lock into place. So at the driver's seat, you'll need to adjust forward or back so that you can get close enough to the pedals. We have the electric seat on the driver's side, not the manual. And we have the tilt adjust up and down. And we also have the seat back. The entire seat moves. So you can, those three are the electric adjustments. You have your armrests up and down. On the left-hand side, I can tilt the seat back. Once I get adjusted, release the lever and it locks into place. So to rotate the seat around to the living room area, there's a lever here on my left side, so I can just release that lever and I'll be able to rotate the seat around. I can step out of it and just rotate the base all the way around. Put the armrest down so we can clear that, and then we can rotate all the way around. When we're finished with the chair towards the living area, ready to put it back for driving, just rotate it back around this way, and it will automatically lock into place. So as you come into the entrance door, just on your right here, you've got your ceiling light switch, which is handy because you can turn your lights on right here when you get in, or your patio light, which is also a light in the stepwell area. Below that, we have your cargo light switch, so you can turn your cargo lights on. And below that, we have your fire extinguisher. With the quick release handle, just flip that to open your fire extinguisher. Just behind the seat belt there, we have our LP detector, and that senses any gas in your coach, and if there is, that will give you a warning alert sound. Just above the driver's seat area here, we have the overhead cabinets for your storage. Just above your entrance door, you have your control panel area. These controls are put in a cluster area here for your convenience. I'll go over what the controls are. Behind this panel, in this area where there's a blank area, you'll notice a small solar prep decal. So if you wanted to get access to those wires, that is prepped behind this panel. The wine guard is your television over-the-air antenna, and it also controls your cable connection. You have your power control system through precision circuits. This tells you what amperage you have connected to your shore power. And you have the selection here for what is being used. It tells you, like, if, for instance, the air conditioner is on heat pump right now, and the rear is powered up. And as you scroll through there, it also tells you that the front one is powered up. Moving over here to the center left side, you have your Truma AquaGo. This is your water heater, your instantaneous water heat. And the settings for that are on the right here. This knob can be turned. Right now in the center position, it's in the off position. There is the normal position there, or the eco position here. If you go down to these lower positions, you're going to get into the cleaning mode. Just refer to your owner's manual. If you come to the end of the year and you want to clean out the system, that's when you would put the dial down at the bottom for clean. The awning has lights, LED lights. Those can be turned on and off here. Initially, the coach will have power if this red LED light is on. This is your battery disconnect. If we press this, it gives power to the coach through the house batteries. If we press it the opposite direction, it disconnects the house batteries from the coach, and all your lights will go out. Your step switch is an override. In other words, if you open the door and you want the steps to stay out when you close the door, then you hit your step override switch here, and that will keep the steps out whether or not the door is open or closed. This is your slide out control. Your slide out control for either side of the coach is here for the door side or for the off door side. So that runs the slide in or out. Out is of course extending. In is retracting. This is your awning control switch. If you want your awning to extend or retract, you first have to turn it on. All right, after it's on, then you can press extend or retract here. There's a remote control, and we'll show you that later. But if you don't want the awning to be active, just turn that off. And then your final control on the right-hand side is your charger inverter. It's a Victron charger inverter. As long as the switch in the compartment that the inverter is located is turned on, you'll be able to use the toggle switch here to go in either the charger only, off, or on position. And if those are turned on, you'll notice here LED lights. It tells you main is on, and of course whether it's in bulk or absorption charge. At the current time, the batteries are in float charge. If there were an issue with the inverter, it also gives you those warning lights here: temperature, low battery, overload, and whether the inverter is on. You'll see in this small window here that you do have AC power, and it is on. There is a knob. This is disabled. When we set up the inverter, we don't use this knob to control. It is all set up through the toggle switch and preset down below. So you'll see here in the window, we are currently plugged in, but if we unplug the coach, you'll notice the LED light came on here, indicating that the inverter just came on because we unplugged the shore power. So we're moving over into the theater seating area across from the big screen TV and lift. You'll see you've got additional storage area above the seating area here. You've got your shades, pull down, release to go up. You have your crank out windows here with your screen. Open and close. And as you sit in the theater seating, you have a release here. If you pull the release lever, then you've got your footrest. Just push down to relock in place. On the left-hand side here, you have your touchpad for your controls. These are the same master controls that you'll find on your home screen at your 10-inch screen in the mid hallway. You can control your HVAC, your AGSs, your automatic generator starter. You can view your tank levels here, control all your lighting. So this is, it's handy to have all your controls right here. It's not just a lighting control. Over to my right, there's extra storage here with USB charger plugs and 120 volt plugs here, and our cup holders. So as we move over into the dinette area, this table will fold down, and there's a third cushion underneath the bed lift, and I'll show you how to unlock the table and do that. So there's a lever on the bottom here, so if you pull that down, now you'll be able to push the table down. So you want to move these cushions out of the way, just temporarily. Now you can move the table down and reinstall your cushions, and then you've got a bed, an extra bed here. Put your cushions back in place here, and then the third cushion will go in last. So there you've got your bed, and then just reverse process to lift the table back up. So lift our table back up. Lock that lever counterclockwise to relock, and then we just put our cushions back on the seat. And below the seat, we have a pull-out drawer on each side. Just reach in the center and pull out. And push back. And you'll hear it click when it locks back in place. So just beside your dinette, we have the hutch cabinet here. And more storage down below in these drawers. And your heating vent below that. So in the ducting of your coach, you have full-length ductwork that goes from the front of the coach all the way to the back. So when you're running the air conditioner in the back, you still get cooling in the front. There are filters in the louvers on the passenger side going all the way up and down the coach, and these need to be removed and cleaned whenever they get dirty or dusty. Warm soapy water, and then make sure they're dry, and then just put them back in place. So here at your sofa, you've got removable cushions. They're Velcroed on. You can remove these and fold this out into a bed. So there's a lift lever here that unlocks it. So once you lift that up, that's unlocked. And then you can pull this out. And it drops down. And then just fold the back down. And then you've got your bed here. And just reverse process to put the sofa back in place. And the Velcro holds them back in place. Just above that, our TV lift. You can see our TV lift is going up now. And as that's going up, we'll just look at these overhead cabinets. For storage here, you've got your Bose speaker, your AV center, your audio visual center, 110 volt plugs for your satellite receiver, satellite connections, and HDMI connections. They're labeled for what they are. This is for Blu-ray, and this is for satellite. And more storage here. 120 volt outlet. Of course, the window behind the TV. And since we've got the TV up, we're going to show you how to do a channel scan so that you can pre-program your TV for the available channels in both over-the-air and cable. So with our television turned on, we'll use our remote control to go to the home screen, press the home button in the center. That gets to this screen. And then this icon here is our selection for menu. So just toggle over to the left here and go to settings. So you'd have to scroll down to settings, then press the center button here. And now scroll over to all settings. And what we're going to do is we're going to scan for channels. If we scroll down here to broadcasting, then we select that. Press the center button again, and we go through auto program to find the channels. So press auto program, and we want to press the start to auto program. We have to have our over-the-air wine guard turned on, and once that's on, then we're going to scan for air channels, yes, and it'll go through the scan and it'll show us how many channels it found. 39 channels. So we can either scan again, or we can go to our different settings or just close. You'll have to scan the same way with the WineGuard antenna off if you want to watch the cable channels. So if you want to scan for cable, turn the over-the-air antenna off and then scan again for your cable channels if you have part cable available and want to watch cable. Now we should be able to connect with a channel here. Yes. To go back to the home screen and scan for cable, scroll left, back to settings, to the right, all settings, broadcasting, auto program, and this time we're plugged into cable, we've turned our over-the-air WineGuard off, and now we can scan for the cable channels. Obviously, since we are not plugged into cable, we won't pick up any, but that's how you would scan for the cable. And you'll have to scan for channels for each TV location, whether it's out here or in the bedroom. So we're moving over into the kitchen. We've got our overhead cabinets above the sink area here. Important information is labeled. Owner's manuals are in the plastic and in the black bag. That's of course the plug that comes over here to the Whirlpool microwave. We have our sink covers. This is the black case with all of your registration and warranty information. Got our trash receptacle here, and we have our hot and cold lines and our water feed line that comes up here. These are our drawers. And just below our microwave, we have our cooktop. Our range has a removable Corian cover, so you can just fold that up and you can remove it out of the way if you'd like, or you can leave it here. It's just folded back out the way. So to light your burners, there's 3 burners, there's 3 controls. And this is your igniter, so you want to have your hand on the igniter, and when you turn a burner on, it goes red, and then this rotating it clockwise will make the spark, and then it will light up. We don't have any LP in the tank right now, so it won't light. When you're done with cooking on that burner, which is red, just turn it clockwise. It'll turn blue, and then that means it's off. And then when you're finished, you can turn the lights out if you like, and just fold this back down when these cool off. So as we move over into the refrigerator area, above the refrigerator, you've got another storage cabinet area. You'll notice a black handle lock in the center of the doors. So right now, the lock for both doors is in the open position. If we move it to the left, we're not going to be able to open our door. That's the travel position to the left, so that your doors don't open in transit. Then when you get to your destination, you can unlock the refrigerator. Just move that handle lock to the right. Now you can open your doors. We have our ice maker up here. We have our freeze control here. Minimum max for cooling in the refrigerator or freezer. And then below, you've got your on-off switch right here. You press and hold that for 3 seconds. The light comes on. Just beside the refrigerator, we have our pantry area with adjustable shelves. To close the door, just clips in here. You'll hear it when you push it, locks into place on both sides. So this is your fantastic control for the vent fan just above the cook stove and kitchen area. So the control that you're looking at is for the fantastic vent, the fan that will pull air out of your coach here in the kitchen or the half bath or the full bath. To turn it on and off, the fan button is up on the top, but if you just wanted to open the lid and let the air go out just by itself, you can open the lid here and that will lift the lid, and then the air will just gradually move out of your coach. To turn a fan speed on, then you would have to press the up and down arrows here after you turn the fan on. So now the lid's open. I can set my speed of the fan here. You can hear that going down lower. If for any reason the lid won't open, fan won't come on, there is a rain sensor on the outside. If that has a little moisture on it, the fan won't operate and the lid won't work, won't open. You can override that by pressing and holding down the down button until you see that red light come on. That means you have overridden the rain sensor. You might have to do that in the full bath if you're taking a hot shower, a lot of moisture in the air, and it can trip the rain sensor to not open. If you want to turn the rain sensor override off, just press the same button, 3 seconds, and now the rain sensor would be activated again. So this is our fan speed here. This is just the lid up and down. To have the fan speed working, you have to press the blue button on top. To close it, all we have to do is turn it off. The blue button, the lid and the fan will shut off and the lid closes. There is a fuse on the inside that you can check. If the fan won't come on and you don't get anything on the display, just turn this and remove, and you have your fuse there that has to be good for it to power up. Now you can see with the fuse out, I don't see a red glow here at the fan. If I put this back in, you'll see a small red LED light that comes on right there at the edge of the fan. That means that I have power to my fan. So that fuse is good if you see that red LED light. Just in case you don't have a fuse and you wanted to open this, you can still open it manually with this crank right here. And our fan will come on as long as our fuse is working. To close it, just turn clockwise and that turns the fan off. You can do that with all 3 fans. Here in the hallway, right beside your kitchen, you have your touch panel. This 10-inch screen is very similar to the screen that's on the wall at the sofa or in the bathrooms. And you can see the icons that are available here at the bottom. And as soon as you select one of those icons, it goes to that function or that feature. So if I would select tanks, that's going to display my tanks. Fresh, gray, black, and LP. It also shows water pump and my lights, my lighting control. I can turn my lights on and off from here. If I go and select my AGS, I can do my setup for when I want my AGS to come on or when I want it to stay quiet and not turn on. If I go to my HVAC screen, I can see that I can turn on my heating and ventilation and my air conditioning in the living room or the bedroom. When I touch any one of these settings, it turns from gray to red. That means it's on. So if I want to have my heating or cooling system on, I have to press that on/off button and make it red, and then I can control the mode. So Currently, it's in the off mode, so if I would press it again, now it's in the air conditioning or cool mode. Auto mode means it selects furnace or air conditioning for you. All you have to do is set temperature. Heat pump is the rooftop air conditioner heat pump. And furnace is your LP furnace. And since the furnace, we had that on for a second, you saw the flame come on and the furnace was going to give us heat. When we are in the air conditioning mode, whether cool or heat pump, we can leave the fan in auto or we can set the fan on low. If you set the fan on low, it's going to continue to run. You can hear the fan just came on. So if I want the fan to cycle with the air conditioner, then I just leave it in auto. Then the fan comes on with the air conditioner or the heat pump. If I go to my setup screen, I'm in my settings for enabling programming, HVAC, temperatures. I can set my time, for instance, if I need to change my clock to a different time zone or the time was wrong. If you hit the back arrow, you can go back to settings here. I can set it programming or weekly. Going to the Bluetooth pair, if I get this app called Connected Solutions on my phone, then I can connect my phone Bluetooth with pushing that button here. It's now in pairing. So this is flashing blue, and I would look at my phone and then it would be pairing with this app. When it pairs with the app and this touchpad control, it's going to be on Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi is going to enable you to look at any one of these settings and you'll see this on your phone. So you'll be able to control all of these functions on your phone just like you would if you were on the touch panel here. Now there is a range around the coach and inside the coach, and it depends on the Wi-Fi strength, the Wi-Fi signal, and for pairing it relies on the Bluetooth. So refer to your owner's manual for more information on that. The lighting control is for all of the areas in the coach: stool room, bedroom, bath, kitchen. So if I press the kitchen, I can turn the lights on or off in the kitchen, overhead lights, and the living room, all off, all on here. So again, you can scroll through and you have control over all these functions that you see the icons for here at the bottom of the screen. This is your half bath door. As we open it up, it folds to the right, out of the way. And as we move into the bathroom, we've got our main medicine cabinet area here with overhead lights. Above that, we have our fantastic vent. That fantastic vent is controlled the same way on the control here. You can see in the mirror, that's the same type of control that you have in the kitchen for the kitchen vent for the overhead fan. If you needed or wanted to operate it manually for some reason, loss of power, you can reach up and just open the black handle counterclockwise, and you can still have the fan come on and work because the lift is going up. To shut it off, then just turn it clockwise. It'll close the vent and the fan will shut off. If it's not working at all, there is a fuse that you can check right here. Just rotate the fuse holder counterclockwise, and then you can pull the fuse out, check it, and replace it if you have to. To put it back in, just push up, rotate about a half turn clockwise, and that locks it back in place. There's more cabinet space here. On the top shelf, you've got some cords coming in here. This is for your router, for your Wi-Fi in your coach. And if equipped, you'll have a Starlink in the back as well. Here's your sink, cold and hot, just lift. 120 volt outlet, more cabinet storage below, along with your drawers here. And storage there. You have your Dometic toilet. Dometic toilet has the flush on the foot pedal here. To flush, you would just press down and it will auto flush that way. Just release your foot. Above that, you've got your 120 volt and 12 volt breakers and fuses. On the breakers, these are your 120 volt. This is for your main disconnect for your power coming in the coach. Once this is on, then these are all powered up and they're all labeled. So you have your inverter, front air conditioner, heat pads, rear air conditioner, washer and dryer. If any of these are tripped, they're about halfway over. If you turn them off, they go all the way over. So you can actually turn them off this way. But if they're tripped, they're probably only slightly over or halfway. Then you have to go all the way to the left and back to the right to reset it. So if you do see one that's a little bit to the left, it's not really quite all the way off like you would turn it off manually. You'll need to turn it off all the way left and then back on to reset it. Just below that, you have your 12 volt fuses. The ones that are a little bit larger here, these are resettable. So if the small center pops out, that means you need to push it back in to reset it. These all have a label number, F3, F5, so it's a letter and a number. Those are associated here on the door. So if you look it up, you can see, okay, F5, what is F5? Come over here. F5 is my KIB wall switches fuse. It's a 7.5. So if your wall switches aren't working, come over here, pull that 7.5 out. If it's blown, you usually see it split in the middle. Then just come over here. We put spare fuses in here for you. And just grab a 7.5 to make sure that's, you're matching the number for number. And then put it in. Actually, I pulled F8 out here. You got to go by the arrow. So F8, that was a 10. So you, again, just match the number for the fuse and then put it back in. If it's tripped on any of these, just press the center to reset. Just to the left of that, you've got your sub panel. This sub panel has the refrigerator, the bed, bath, basement, microwave, and kitchen, living room, and your main. This is powered up by the inverter. So even if you're not plugged into shore power, getting power through this panel, the battery sends power through the inverter to this panel, so you can still use your kitchen appliances without being plugged in for a certain time period. So below that, you have the ATC net. That's your Wi-Fi connection. Your Wi-Fi connection is something you can use on your phone and or your smart device to connect to your coach control panel. So if you use this app, go to this app, you can pair this to your phone or your tablet, and then you can see and monitor what your coach is doing within Wi-Fi range of the coach. Okay, so as we move into the bedroom area, there is a pocket door here. The pocket door is right now, it's in the locked position, closed. There's a black arrow on a yellow decal that explains push down to unlock. So you can just push that down, that unlocks the door. and then you can slide it over, and then it locks back into position here. So now this is in the lock position. To store it back for travel, just push down, that unlocks, and then slide it over, and once it slides back into the closed position, you'll hear it click, and it's locked back in place there for travel. This is your sensor for the bedroom area for temperature sensing for your HVAC system. Above that, you've got your slide out control that moves the slide room in and out. It will only move in and out if the bed is folded in the up position. So you can see right now, if I press in or out, it won't move. So if I want the bed to be in the stored position, I'm not using it, not sleeping in it, I need, more room in my hallway, then you come over here and it's labeled bed lift, and to bring it up where you would have it to be stored so you can operate the slide, lift up. Okay, now you're able to operate the slide, and of course you've got more room in the hall here to access your cabinets and laundry, and of course get to your full bath in the back. Just above the bed, we've got the cabinets. Let's move this back down. So we have our end windows. The windows have a screen and a lever at the top. If you turn that lever out, towards you this way, you'll be able to lift the window up. It does lock into place. If you lift it far enough, you'll hear it click. That's locked into place now. And then to unlock it, there's two small levers on each side, and you press those, and then the window will go back down, and then you can lock the lever back and pull down your shade if you like. There's storage area above the bed. There's a small access here. If you have a CPAP machine and you need to run the hose down and plug your machine in up here, there's a 120 volt outlet in the center. So you can plug your equipment here and then run your hose down for your CPAP mask. There is a nightstand here. The nightstand cabinet has a 110 volt outlet here. So you can plug in 120 volt plugs, and has a USB charger here as well. There's also a USB-C plug for charging. All right, so just in front of the bed in the hall area here, you've got your closet space for your hanging clothes here. And drawer space down below. You've got your television here, and there's your window. This serves as a dual purpose. It's obviously for lighting, but it's an emergency window exit. So in case you were back in the bedroom and you needed to exit the coach for any reason, you just lift the handles up and push the window out. Below that, you can put the controls for this television down below. This is another audio-visual cabinet area. Again, we have your HDMI connection along with your satellite connection and 120 volt outlets for your receivers or DVD players, whatever you've got to plug in, and more drawer space below. Beside that, you've got your washer and dryer. The dryer is above, and the timer heat settings. If you're going to operate your washing machine and run it through a cycle, There is a little notice here: remove the outside drain cap before operating the washing machine. So what they're saying is a lot of water is going to be going through here, and your outside drain for your tanks needs to be open so that the water has someplace to go. You don't want it to be backing up into the washer, because that'll back up into your shower drains or other drains in the coach. So just make sure that your gate valve is open for your gray water. Have a removable louver panel here, because behind this panel you've got your furnace. This is not a storage area because you have your furnace behind there. This is the return air for the furnace. In the middle of the ceiling we have our CO2 detector. The CO2 detector should be tested just like the smoke detector. You press in the center and hold it until you hear the alarm and you see the LED light flash. That tells you your battery's good and that you would get a warning if there was CO2 in the room. If you don't hear the sound or see the LED light, just grab a hold of the sides, squeeze it a little bit and pull down and change the battery, the 9-volt battery. Once you change that, put this back up and retest. Make sure it operates in sound and LED light for your CO2 protection. So as we move back in the hallway of the bedroom, we've got another pocket door here. The pocket door is closed to the rear bath. To unlock it the same way as the other pocket door, just push down to unlock and open. And when it's all the way open, it locks back into place, and that's the way you want it for travel. As we move into the rear bath, you've got your overhead medicine cabinets here with lighting, your sink bowl, hot and cold, 120 volt outlet here. The drawers and cabinet space below. The lines are red for hot and blue for cold. Another forced air furnace vent coming in for heat. And then we have our shower control, lift to turn on and tilt left to right for hot and cold. There is a lever here you need to lift to move the slider glass door to close. When you're finished with your shower, you want to make sure to put that lock back down for travel. Skylight above that, overhead filter and hot and cool vent from your HVAC. And then behind me, of course, we have more storage area here and all of our lighting controls here. More storage down below. Have our overhead fantastic vent, same as the one in the half bath and the kitchen. Same control here. Have your night and day shade both. And our window control here. Just crank to open, and it does have a screen, and counterclockwise to close. And the fantastic vent control is the same, as well as the touch panel control that we saw earlier. The toilet is a Dometic, and it operates the same as the one in the half bath. Just press down with your foot pedal to flush. Okay, so we are at the front of your coach, And we're gonna just look at the lights just for a minute. This is obviously your bright and dim lights, turn signals, your marker lights above, and just on the side here, that's your side turn signal camera. That comes on when you put your left turn signal on so that you can see in that lane. Same as the other side, that would come on when you turn towards the direction of the right. Taking a look under the hood here, there's a prop rod. So you want to grab a hold of the prop rod. If you open the hood and put your prop rod here to hold that hood while you inspect just in front of the engine here at the firewall. And underneath the hood, we can see our washer fluid for our wipers, our fill here. This is for our jacks. The jacks have a dipstick here, so we can turn this open. We can check our level. This would be the low, that would be the high. Those are our equalizer jacks. We have our power steering fluid and dipstick here to check the level for that. This is our air filter. To remove the air filter, we just unclip it here and change the air filter here. Moving over here, we've got your oil dipstick here and fill. We have our engine coolant here and cap to fill here. Have our chassis battery and additional house batteries here. There's a light here that you can turn on, manual on off. On the far left-hand side is your HVAC system for heating and cooling in the cockpit area. To close the hood, just lift up here and put the prop rod back in its clip. Then you can just drop the hood down. In the lower center area here, this is for your collision mitigation system. You want to keep this clear of debris and clean. If this is ice or snow covered, you'll want to remove that so that the lane warnings will be working. If it's covered with snow and ice, you won't get the warnings. So starting here at the passenger side of your coach, as we mentioned earlier, you have a camera here. Camera is on the passenger side. That is a turn signal camera that comes on when you turn on your signal when you're turning to the right. Above that, you have your mirror. These are adjustable. The set screws are here. There's 3 of them. You can move that left or right if you need more range of view from the inside. You can tilt. It's on a ball. Then, of course, when you make your final adjustment, you want to tighten these Allen screws back up. There's 3 of them. Above there, you've got your drip rail, your slider window for the passenger here. To lock and unlock the door is the purple key here. So you can lock and unlock the door handle here or the deadbolt here. So if we go into the top one, you can see that's my deadbolt, lock and unlock. And my door is down here at the bottom. So if I want to look at that one, so now if I turn this, you can see that's going to lock and unlock my door. So that's the way you use the key to do it. Obviously, if you're inside, you can do it manually here. And that's unlock and lock. So that's unlock is down. The screen has a lock here. You can see how that goes up and latches on the back side. So that's unlock and that's lock. And then this has a magnet here, which catches on the entrance door so they can both close together. if you'd like to do it that way. In addition to this being a screen door, it has a shade here, so if we want to have the shade down, there is a screen here, but if you want the light to be blocked out, open or close, just slide it up. We talked about the steps. The step override switch is on because typically when you close the door, the steps would go in. So if I close the door right now, the steps are staying out, so the step override switch is on. If you want the steps to move with the door, you need to flip the switch in the opposite direction in the overhead, find the step switch, turn it in the opposite direction. Now the steps will close. Just above the door, you've got your patio light and your awning. Your awning has a remote. So as long as the awning is turned on in the overhead, I can open and close the awning here. So RET is retract, EXT is extend. I'll turn that switch on. It's on right now. So I hit extend. Just one time, you hit extend. So we hit extend. Once the awning is all the way out, the awning is run all the way out. You could turn on the exterior LEDs. Here you can see there's a LED switch for the lights. We can turn the LED lights on and off. When we're finished with the awning, we can just hit RET, which is retract. The awning has a feature which has a shake sensor, so when it's extended, if there's wind and it moves too much, it will automatically close. This is your slide out. The slide out, as it opens and closes, has a gap between the trim and the Z trim. The fascia trim should be about 3/8 of an inch away from the Z trim. So when the slide out is closed, before you open it, you should inspect and make sure you have about a 3/8 gap on the sides and around the perimeter. In our first compartment back, we have our inverter. As we explained earlier, has a manual touch switch here. If I turn the switch to off, which is in the center, then my overhead switch will not work. So I have to have that turned on for the overhead switch to be operational. You'll notice here some extra wiring. That's for your solar prep. The solar prep is behind that panel where that label is we showed you earlier. So if you add solar, those are your wires you would connect to it. More storage in our second compartment back. The interior light has just a manual switch on and off. More storage. And this is the handle for your lugs on your rim. We have 2 outlets here. This cord comes over here to a lift pump The water that comes out of the kitchen sink area goes here into this device. It's called a lift pump. The water goes in there. You have to have this plugged in for the water to be pumped into the gray tank. In order for the water that drains out of the kitchen to go into your gray tank, the lift pump has to be plugged in here, and the coach either has to be plugged into shore power or the inverter turned on. So this is your entertainment center for the outside. It has a lock. The gray key opens it. Just lift. And you've got your television, radio, and speakers. The television can be oriented just by grabbing a hold of it. You can pull it out and you can turn it whichever direction you need. When you're finished, obviously just close it and push it back in place. The radio just has the on-off here where it says mode, so you can just turn it on there. And you have all your presets down below here. Your tuning buttons on the right, volume controls the left, or Bluetooth. So as you scroll through the modes, you can select auxiliary, FM, radio, Bluetooth connection for music. And then when you're finished, you just press and hold, that turns it back off. So when you're finished, you can just reach up, close the door, and if you'd like, just lock it again with the gray key. Moving back behind our entertainment center, we've got another marker light here. Our next compartment back is our generator. Our generator has an access panel here. If you need to access the generator, just grab a hold of this panel and pull and lift. And then you have your breaker. The breaker has to be turned to where you see the words on, which is to the left, in order for you to get power inside. You have a manual start button here, so you can manually start it here and then turn it off here as well. You've got your oil fill here. And of course, this is where you'd have your filter. You can do your maintenance right here, change your oil filter, whatever needs to be done. When you're finished, just take the cover, line these tabs up with the ones here, the rubber ones on the top. Just insert, line those up, and push. This is another tank. That's the tank reading pad. And you have your slide controls. These are for your slide outs. Slide out controls are here. Carefree awning control is there. Just next compartment, above the next compartment back is your Suburban furnace. This is an LP furnace. When it's operating, this gets very warm, hot. So you want to make sure not to put anything in front of this when the furnace is operating or might operate, and obviously don't touch it. Next compartment back for storage, interior light. That is for the overhead panel control. That's the module board that controls it and gives you the readouts. This is your instantaneous AquaGo water heater. It's called a Truma. If you rotate this top button, you can lift the cover panel off. This is the pressure relief valve on-off control here. There's the on-off control on the inside as well. If the one inside doesn't turn it on, you can actually come out here and manually turn it on at this switch. But you can see the green LED light come on. But typically, you would just use the one in the overhead. To winterize, that's explained in your owner's operator's manual, but typically you would just lift this and then you would let the water drain out here. This would have to be removed first. This is just here now for storage. When you're done draining the tank, obviously just push that back. The schematic and more warnings are here about your heater. And turn that clockwise to close and lock it. So in our last compartment back is access to the back of the Newmar hot water heater. Behind the hot water heater, there's a set of 3 valves. Refer to your owner's manual because those have to be rotated into the correct position to winterize the hot water heater. And then they have to be switched back for operation in the spring or when you're going to be using the hot water heater again. So right now the valves are in the winterized position or closed, all 3 of them. So you would have to rotate each one a quarter turn to be in the use position for hot water. We're in the back of your coach. At the top center is your rear camera. Above that is your marker lights, third brake light, rear lights, brake lights, and reflectors down below, along with your hitch and ladder. The ladder does have a capacity of 250 pounds, so don't exceed that if you're going to go up on the roof. Okay, so we're at the rear compartment of the driver's side. You'll notice even before we open this door, it has the information here. This is your connection for 120 volt. Don't exceed that. And just below the door, you'll notice there's a drain. So as we open this door, you can see this is your power cord, your short cord, and the gray one that comes in to the transfer switch is coming from the generator. So you've got your generator power coming in here and your shore power coming in. This transfer switch is automatic. Whenever you have power coming in on the generator through the gray, that's what it chooses. So if your generator is running, it's going to choose the generator power. Once the generator is off, it's going to switch automatically. That's why it's called an automatic transfer switch to the short cord power. Just above that, you'll see a small plug here. This is a cable connection for your park cable. And your wind guard antenna has to be turned off or be in the off position in order for the cable to come through for your cable supply to your TV. If you look above the drain that comes out here, this is the black tank drain. This valve, once you pull it towards you, opens a gate. The gate allows the black tank to drain through here. So to drain the black tank, you would take this cover off clockwise, connect your hose to the sewer, pull the valve open. That opens the gate valve. The black tank drains everything out. But then you want to rinse that. So you would come over to the water compartment over here. So once you turn your water supply, you have to turn the connection into this fitting. It's a water hose style fitting, so connect your water supply here. That's for your rear black tank rinse. Once you turn that supply on, it's going to be spraying water into the black tank in the rear here, and that is going to be rinsing this tank out and draining out here. So you want to make sure this is open so that that will clean the tank, clean the drain, and rinse your hose. Once it's rinsed and you've got fairly clean water coming out of that hose, you can turn that water supply off, close the gate valve here, take the hose off, put the cap back on, and then we'll move forward with that hose to drain the other tanks. And we'll show you that in a minute. The last thing to show you in this compartment is just the light switch that is on the left-hand side. The next compartment in front of that one is storage. There is a plug up there for the tank heat pads. That has to be plugged in. So if this were just like that, your tank heat pads would not work. So you have to make sure that that is plugged in for your tank heat to work. Right. In addition to that being plugged in, the tank heat pads have to be enabled on the touch panel, and there has to be a minimum of a few gallons of fluid in the tank for the sensors to have the tanks turn on. This is your fuel fill. This door is to store your sewer hose. And this is our water compartment and drain. So this is what we were talking about earlier. This connection, you would have to put your hose on here, put the hose down, going down through here to drain. And you'll notice there are two different labels here. One is wastewater holding tank and one is sewage holding tank. That's because there's two valves here. The valve on the left is the one for the wastewater or your gray tank. The one on the right is a little bit larger, and that's for the black tank, sewage holding tank. So once we get our hose connected into the sewage, then we would want to first empty our sewage tank or black, and then we would follow that up with opening this valve, pulling it towards us, and that would get all the gray water out, but it also rinses the hose, which just helps us get that rinsed out first. And then, of course, you can go into your rinsing process in the sewage tank by putting the water supply, instead of on the rear one, you would put that on the black tank sewage rinse here. So you would rinse that tank, that will rinse the black tank and hose out here. Once that's done, turn the water supply off. Close each of these gate valves by pushing in. Take the hose off and put the cap back on when you're finished. You'll notice that there is a brand new filter. This is your whole house filter. The whole house filter should be installed before you use the fresh water or fill the fresh water tank, because you want to filter the water that's coming in the coach. You'll want to install your whole house filter in this canister. So you unlock the canister first here, lift this tab up, then you'll turn this off. And then you'll take this out of the plastic case, drop this in, reinstall it here. Line up these two tabs with the lock pin, and then put that back. Now you're ready to put your freshwater city connection here. Don't want to exceed 60 psi. Once you have this connected, you can turn on your water supply and either fill the freshwater tank by going up towards the on for the freshwater fill valve, or if you just wanted to have this water filtered going into the house and not filling the freshwater tank, you could leave this handle towards the off position. And that way you're just getting water in your house. It's called city connection. That's because it's just water coming in, not filling the freshwater tank. There is a couple caution warnings up here. The one up here on the right says if you have a whole house filter, which we do, you want to remove that filter and the housing and reinstall just the housing before running the antifreeze through, because if you run antifreeze through this filter, then the filter is no longer any good. You'll have to get a new one. You'll notice there are two low point drains here with the quarter turn valves. That opens and closes these lines. Before you winterize, you want to drain all your water out of your hot and cold lines. So you would open those, drain all the water out, along with the water valve that we'll show you on the freshwater tank. Once you drain all the water out, then we would want to connect our winterizing solution and hose, turning the water pump on and running the antifreeze through our coach and all the appliances. There is a small water shower here with hot and cold supply. So we can use that to rinse our hands, gloves, or hoses outside here. It's called the outside shower. To turn the water pump on and off, we just press this button right here. The LED light comes on, and that turns our water pump on. If we're using water out of the fresh tank, we need to have the water pump turned on. If we're using city water and we're not using it out of the fresh tank, we wouldn't necessarily have to have the water pump on at all. So as we move forward in front of the water compartment, you'll notice this slide out room, which is the bedroom, has a slide topper awning. That awning opens and closes to cover the top of that slide out room from rain or debris, and automatically closes when the slide out closes. As we move forward here, we have another marker light. The door below it is more storage. In addition to that, has our water pump here and the valves to turn on and off to winterize through this hose. This is the hose that you'll insert into the winterizing vessel solution, and when the water pump is turned on, it will pull the winterizing fluid up in the coach throughout all the water lines until you've got them filled with the antifreeze. And then when you're finished, you'll turn these back off and turn the water pump off. Next compartment forward is more storage. You'll notice a small threaded bolt here. These are adjustments for the slide are called saddles that adjust the tilt. You'll notice a tank in our next compartment forward. That's our fresh water tank. Our fresh water tank has a drain. So if you're ready to winterize, you'll need to drain that tank. The valve to do that is right here. Just open this up and that'll drain all the fluid out of that tank. Our next compartment forward is more storage. Next compartment forward is our battery tray compartment. This compartment can be pulled out for service. The batteries are strapped in. The pin to unlock the tray to slide is on the right. Just lift the locking pin, and there's one on this side. If you loosen both, you'll be able to pull the tray out and service the battery. When you're finished checking the fluid level in the batteries, we'd want to close this and put our locking pins back in before we travel. And our last compartment is our LP. There's no lock on an LP compartment door for safety reasons. If you ever smell LP, you want to come here, open the door, and turn this valve clockwise or to the off position. All the way clockwise is closed, the tank is off, there's no pressure going into the house. This is the readout. This tells you how full the tank is. This should match the amount that you see in the overhead. This is the fill valve, and that's the access valve for the LP company that's filling your tank. So we talked a little bit earlier about slide outs and when we should open them and when we should level. There's a gap between the Z trim and the fascia trim that's about 3/8 of an inch, and you'll notice that's all the way on both sides and around the bottom. It's the same. So if you come to a park and you're in let's say a kind of an off level situation, this gap might be too close or touching together. You don't want to level your coach if that happens. You always want to see a gap where the Z trim and the fascia trim are not touching, and then you can level the coach. If you ever see this gap too close or touching, you want to move your coach to an area that's more level before you run your slide out or extend it.